And then we'll open it up.
Hope the roads are clear. I'm ready to get home. This Big Ten travel hasn't been a lot of fun. But I think it's been a great experience for our players to have played, open up the season with two Big Ten opponents. Certainly we have been able to identify early on what some of our strengths and our weaknesses are. And so we have a true gauge of what we can and can't do and what we need to work on at this point. Played a very, very talented Illinois team. So I felt the game was probably a lot better game for the majority of the time than the final score.
What did you do that got you back in the game in the second half?
Guys just picked up their intensity on the defensive end. We started to pick off some passes and get some buckets at the basket, you know, and that's what turnovers lead to. They lead to easy buckets for you. So when we forced some late in the first half, we were able to kind of claw our way back in the game.
Talk about Brian Hall's performance there, 2 steals, a half quarter at the buzzer, and then you started him in the second half over Mike. Talk about his performance.
Well, we knew we had to come out and really get things done on the defensive end, and certainly Brian Hall showed the first half that he was going to play with a great deal of energy, and it became contagious with our other guys. They picked up their intensity a little bit.
Patton Jewel.
Excuse me?
Irvin, is that kind of the guy that you've been wanting to see?
No question. He's a guy that's long enough to play with guys, and he's skilled enough that out on the perimeter, if our wings are being denied, that he can take guys off the dribble, which I thought he did a nice job of that for us at times. And I think he has a pretty good feel for the game. And so he did a nice job. We just have to get him to continue to play hard and get better.
Talk about Richardson and Paul, they're 2 freshmen. Just, you know, the poise these guys show and kind of where you would put them among the freshmen you've seen over the years.
Well, I think they're certainly as talented as any freshman that came through the Big 12 in the 14 years I spent there. They just understand how to play, and it's a different level athlete than sometimes you see outside of our league, and they have a very long future in the game of basketball.
Coach, Brian Hall kind of said maybe the 19-3 run almost made them run out of gas, and now you run out of gas. Do you think maybe that had some effect on Illinois pulling away in the second half?
Well, anytime you're playing from behind and you're scratching and clawing and trying to dig your way out, you're going to find yourself a little more fatigued, and sometimes you don't have enough to finish it, to take it over the top when you've had such a long road to hoe just to get back in the fight.
Coach, your team had 11 offensive rebounds in the second half. Was that a conscious effort to really push it on the offensive glass? That's
something I thought that going into the year that we could be pretty good at is offensive rebounding, and I still believe that. I think that can be and will be one of the strengths of our basketball team, is we have guys I think can rebound the ball.
Do you think you guys missed Xavier less than maybe you were anticipating?
No, I didn't. We don't have anyone that can do what Xavier can do at this point. I think at some point maybe Tony Nixon may develop into the same caliber of player. But right now, we certainly miss his point production. But we made up for that on the defensive end, I thought, when we got back in the game.
Coach, do you feel it's a different game with Silas in there? I mean, the 19-3 run is a closer game.
Well, you never know. You know, sometimes guys have to learn how to play alongside a good player, and sometimes they tend to watch him play as opposed to continuing to play themselves. And so I certainly wouldn't sit here and say, well, if he had been in the game, then it may have been a different story. But did we need him out there? I think so, for sure.
Was it typical for you to dribble penetrate this much, and was it any easier than you expected it to be against Illinois?
I thought they did a really nice job, particularly the second half, of getting out and hedging. the ball handler coming off the ball screen and really slowing us down the second half. But offensively, we wanted to do some of that, kind of spread them out. And but they did a nice job defensively, particularly the second half. They came out the way we thought they would.
Coach, talk a bit about the run where you guys cut it to single digits at the end of the first half. What's going through your mind? What did you tell you guys at halftime?
Well, at halftime, we just talked about, we had gone on, I think, a 14-3 run to close the half. And so I mentioned it to our guys, and I told them that I was certainly was mentioned in the other locker room, and that those guys would come out and play with much greater intensity and that's what we needed to do as well. We wanted to get off to a good start in the second half. We thought the first 5 minutes were critical.
The second straight game with foul trouble with Jake Anderson. Is that a defensive issue at this part? Not letting speed fast enough into the position?
You know, there's a combination. Some of the fouls that guys pick up is them helping when their teammates are blown by, and them stepping up, trying to maybe take a charge or whatever and draw the block. And so we'd have to really look back on the film and just see what exactly happened with him getting in foul trouble.
Any other questions for Coach?
Thank you. Good luck, you guys.